That's right. The eggs are in the basket. They have been opened, at least one of them, in the Red Wings series with the Bruins. What a win it was Friday night. This is the Suburban Forward 7 Sports Cave. We're knocking it all down. A bit of breaking news down at Comerica Park today. Alex Gonzalez released. We're going to dive into that, what that means for this Tigers team going forward, because 3 weeks with him was apparently enough.
What a run.
Woo! The memories that we have forever. I am Brad Galley. The classy Mike Stone is on my left.
Happy Easter. You know, it's a tradition. When I used to do the Sunday Sports Update, Sunday night Easter, the yellow jacket came out.
And then in his classy homemade custom T-shirt, Matt Derry.
Tufts, baby. Sammy Watkins. It's just a few weeks until the Lions get him.
Played up for Clowney, not for Watkins.
We will continue our talk about the NFL draft and
Trade up
everything.
for Super Sammy is what it says.
You'll get your time.
Clowney?
Yeah, I would trade up for Clowney over that guy.
Of course I'd love Clowney.
They're both fantastic. The smoke screens that have been coming out of Allen Park, we're going to be discussing what's real, what's not. We've got Rajai Davis joining us live from Comerica Park coming up. So if you've got questions for him, tweet us. Use the hashtag 7SportsCave. We will feed him what you're asking him, depending on what you're asking, of course. And then we've got Nick Stauskas. You ever heard of him? Going to the NBA draft.
Yeah.
Maybe your Cleveland Cavs.
Mike? No.
Well, hey,
I don't root for anybody. Okay. I want the Pistons to do well, and I think Nick Stauskas here would be good. I have no problem with him at number 8.
Nobody else who can shoot from the outside.
We're going to go one-on-one with Nick to hear one little tidbit he hasn't shared with anybody about why he left for the draft. But first, we start in Boston.
It's a real secret. It's called money.
Oh, is that right? Yeah. The Red Wings and Bruins playing for the big money out in Boston. And we'll start really with just how fantastic that game was. And the feel of playoff hockey kind of back in this town because the Tigers playing at the same time Friday night. I asked the question, who's watching the Wings to the Red Wings ratio? And then by the end of the night, everybody was watching the Wings. My question for you guys today, you keep that momentum going. Winning today, sure, it'd be great. But that win, how big is that to grab it in Boston?
It's huge. You take home ice back. But, of course, in hockey, home ice doesn't mean as much as it does in some other sports. It was a great road playoff win. And the other thing, that the big question mark for me going in is Jimmy Howard. Because Jimmy Howard, with all due respect, was very mediocre and average this season. And he played great Friday night.
I agree. I think that everybody talks about Jimmy Howard and uses his playoff stats, you know, and they shove him back in his face. If Chris Osgood, for all these years that he took gruff, never got the team to a conference final, he would have been run out of town. Yeah, he technically was the first time. But Jimmy Howard the other night, to get a shutout in game 1 on the road in a hostile environment, the way he played, I thought the entire defense played well.
Yes, they
I thought
did.
The game plan was great. They played sort of, you know, safe and always had somebody back, but that high-powered Boston attack was completely shut down. And then Datsuk did his thing. And it's the beauty, I guess, of playoff hockey, that if you can be an 8, you're right there with a 1. Part of me doesn't like it because, to me, Boston is the better team and won the President's Trophy and had all these, you know, triple-digit points. But, hey, anything can happen at a bounce of the puck, and the Wings are right there.
The other thing is they show great discipline. I mean, because Boston's a very physical team, and if the Wings start getting out of their heads and start retaliating, they're going to go to the penalty box, and Boston's power play is great. Wings played so smart Friday night. Hopefully they continue that today.
I was waiting the whole entire game for them to show their youth, to show the inexperience for some of these younger guys that have been in key spots. They didn't show it. I mean, I was waiting for them to get overpowered in a minute, and that didn't happen.
Yeah. That's been going on the entire playoffs. Even last night in the Columbus-Pittsburgh game, toward the end of the overtimes, there was a Bush League hit that went on. We know what happened in the Chicago-St. Louis series with Seabrook.
Yeah.
The Wings have been, you're right, to go into Boston and to not take penalties and to be calm and then allow, you know, Pav to do his thing at the end of that game. I didn't think they could do it.
By the way, speaking of penalties, what's it say about a league that fines a guy $5,000 for spearing a guy in the grapes, basically, and Joel Quenneville gets $25,000 for just grabbing his grapes? I mean, seriously, what Lukic did was horrible. I mean, that's disgusting.
It was terrible. You're right. Quenneville grabs his crotch for about a half a second.
Right, he gets 25 grand.
And the league is saying, well, one is the player safety department that handled it, the other one was the. That is why, unfortunately, the NHL is 4 or 5 when it comes to the ranking the sports, because the
National Hockey League.
That is a suspendable offense. This Seabrook thing by now, he's going to wait till he's going to be on the phone later today. No, get it moving now. 2 games right now. There shouldn't be any wait.
He said he did it 3 times this season, knocking somebody underneath the groin.
I know.
Lucic did it 3 times.
He probably didn't get caught for any of them.
Nuts.
And then the Seabrook should definitely get suspended because Abdelkader did last year for pretty much the same thing.
Do you know what Milan Lucic got for Easter?
Eggs.
Danny DeKeyser's basket.
Ah,
Wow.
Let's move on.
That was good. I got to admit, that was good.
A little bit of breaking news, as we mentioned off the top. Alex Gonzalez here today, gone tomorrow.
opening day hero? They
Hero.
got rid of him?
See ya.
Oh, my God.
So the question pouring in, the Tigers have released him now. Now it's a Danny Worth, Andrew Remine platoon at shortstop. So the trade from Doug Fister, now you look back at what they did to get Steve Lombardozzi out of town for Gonzalez. That's all gone. What the heck's going on?
I think what's going on is they just don't have any depth when it comes to positional players,
Right.
and they never want to admit it. And
They panicked
it wa-
making that
they did
trade. They
panic.
should have either had Worth start the season there or even Perez.
If you're Danny Worth, what makes you think that your stay up here is going to be any longer than Alex Gonzalez's was? You've been DFA'd, sent to Toledo
Yep.
so many freaking times. And I know that Suarez is coming and some others down in the system. But it's not enough now on a World Series contender that they're hoping that they are. And it's an indictment on the organization. And it starts at the top. You've got to have some positional player depth to go out and get an Alex Gonzalez who hadn't played shortstop in 3 years, but he was a Nebraska guy from the Marlins days. We knew it wasn't going to work.
And he had a good spring with Baltimore.
It
Remember
was a
that?
desperate move right from the
They
get-go.
should.
It was
Look,
obvious.
And
Lombardozzi's having a good season.
Right, he's hitting 286 playing second base
Right.
in Baltimore filling in, but he probably wasn't a shortstop. But neither was Gonzalez, so what was the difference?
I love the quote from Brad Ausmus explaining the deal today. Time takes its toll on everybody. 3 weeks is time taking its toll. I mean, I guess he's old, but
Father
still.
Time has caught up with
But
Alex Gonzalez.
Here's the biggest thing, though. We could sit here and talk all day about, is the bullpen going to be okay? And is the shortstop situation going to be okay? And what about left field? You know, Davis is having a really good start to the year. But the bottom line is it's still going to come down to the guys in the middle of that order. If Kinsler continues to hit like this, if Miggy wakes up a little bit, and he hasn't been horrible, but he hasn't been Miguel Cabrera-esque yet. Victor's spraying the ball over the place. And
Castellanos
Hunter,
has been stellar.
not bad. So they'll be just fine. And the rest of the division, everybody's got holes.
Yes.
The entire division has everybody's got flaws right now. It's very early, very early.
All right, since it is early and you are wearing your logo, we'll give.
Oh,
You want to put that on there?
I
A
got
little
to,
tattoo
I
on
get
your
to compete
shirt?
with the human billboard here.
It's a tough shirt. Relax.
You can fit in. We can all fit in. I need a Circle 7 patch, or maybe I'll just put the light on my shirt. So to go along with the trade up.
What about that yellow jacket? I mean, I really think Stoney, for the most part, is not a fashion plate. No offense, I've known him for years.
Hey, come
but
on.
this is a fantastic
This is a
jacket.
beautiful jacket.
I really
Isn't it?
like
Thank
it.
you.
I
You
do
want to
like
see my special
It
touch?
looks good in Canton,
Let
too.
me
what do
show
you-
them up. Rob, can you get these?
What do you got
While we're
today?
getting going here.
You got
Kat-
Jesus on socks?
Kat's just got Jesus on her necklace. I've got him on my socks. How about
Wow.
that? Easter Sunday, baby.
Where did you resurrect those?
Hey-o. All right, let's talk about the savior that you want to come to the Lions. Sammy
I
Watkins.
think I have a
People
Josh
still,
Smith logo on my side.
Yeah, somebody was crucified for that free agent selection.
Oh my God. He was, and he's out of. Well, he's still with the organization.
That was an
Joe
air ball.
Dumars.
That was an air ball of a signing.
Weigh in,
sorry,
please.
Brad.
If you've got funny jokes,
Sorry,
hashtag
Brad.
7 Sports Game.
Sorry,
This is
Brad.
great.
I thought the humor was last week on this show.
That's right. That's right.
What's going on? Because the smoke screens have come out of Allen Park with Jadeveon Clowney coming in. We've got Khalil Mack coming into Allen Park now. So what is the real plan in your best opinions? Is the trade up going to happen?
I don't think it's going to look. I think
They never show their hand like this.
No, I think they probably want to trade up either for his guy or Clowney. But what they're going to have to give up to move into the top 3 is ridiculous, and I wouldn't do it. I'd do it. I would trade down if anything. They need so many players. The draft this year is stocked at a lot of positions, so that's what I would do. But they know better than what I do.
Do they? If Stoney, I'd have you running the Lions. If they needed a cornerback so bad, then I would think that they could trade down. But they've got 7 cornerbacks now. Don't forget, they signed Vaughn.
Right.
Mathis is back. They've got the 5 that are coming back.
So
the
trade
4.
down and get more picks so they can get players.
I understand,
other
but I
positions.
think
Which is
in this,
easier said than done.
But in
I
this
know.
draft, Mack and Barr defensively are probably what they really need. But as you guys know, what they really need is Sammy Watkins, and he's just so good. And
Another wide receiver. That's exactly what they need.
He's not
Is he your
another wide
screensaver?
receiver, Stoney. He's the real
He's
deal.
a great player.
He's the
fine.
real deal.
But big deal. They still have to
Sammy
stop
Watkins is
You
people.
don't know my
Screensaver.
code.
You know what I would do? If they
What's
could,
his selling? Never
if they could trade Sue for the pick, then I would do it. Then,
Oh, fireworks.
Trading
Everyone's in
Sue,
board with
there's an
that.
old bit.
Yeah, well,
if
they've got
you
to
trade
do-
Sue, you're not going to have anybody. Your defense is going to be very, very poor.
you
next
have
year.
2 picks.
Listen,
you
I
have
think
one for your guy, then you get a
There's no
defensive.
guarantees. We know Sue's very good when he's on the field,
Yeah, I know.
when he shows up.
I think the bottom line is I give them a little bit of credit, if you can, with all the theatrics, that people really don't know what the Lions' plan is, and I think that's a good thing. And they've done everything they can, at least ahead of time, if it counts for
They
anything.
haven't known the plan for 50 years, Brad. What have you been?
Boom. All right, we know the plan. Coming up, as we told you, we've got some big guests joining us. Rajai Davis is live at Comerica Park to talk about his hot start, what the Tigers are doing, and trying to pick up that series win against the Angels. And Nick Stauskas goes one-on-one to explain his move to the NBA. Yes, money was involved, but what he's also hearing from people in the league about where he's going to fall. It's Easter Sunday. It's a party. Join us. Hashtag 7SportsCave. Tweet it. Welcome back. Funny story. A couple Easters ago, a couple Halloweens ago, we built a costume for my sister that was an Easter basket. And so she walked around trick-or-treating, the full deal, cellophane. Mike Foss is our social media man, and I wanted to put you in that costume today just to surprise
come
us.
on.
But
Chicken.
No, you teased us. I thought he was going to be in it.
You know, like
they would have fit well. It's a little small though.
well, but instead, Matt Derry and I we're holding it down for the casual crowd today. None of this jacket and tie stuff. This is we're staying with the form here.
You're irreverent.
Yeah, we're rebels
I'm
today.
wearing this Tufts T-shirt until May 8th every day until Sammy Watkins is alive.
Unwashed. Mike, what do you got for us out there? What are the people saying?
A lot of people talking about the Alex Gonzalez story being released from the Tigers. Let's check in and see what people are saying on Twitter. Jake says, I joked after Alex Gonzalez's opening day walk-off hit that the Tigers would cut him by May. I guess I gave the old man too much credit. Gina says, not Gonzalez, he's my favorite.
Cousin.
Let's get him back. Garrett says, I'm not at all concerned about Gonzalez being released. They need to address bullpen and catcher position now. Nwaf says, whoa, didn't think they'd admit their Alex Gonzalez mistake this early. I was wrong, and I'm glad I was wrong. Hashtag Romine is freed. And finally, Grant says, if the Tigers magically only win the division by one game, they can thank Alex Gonzalez for their division title. Guys,
I'll go a small share.
It's a good point about catcher and needing the improvement there because they admit the mistake about Gonzalez, cut him. How long until they admit the mistake that is Alex Avila?
Oh, I don't know if it's.
Oh, don't know. Look, he's a very
Is he here
good.
all season?
He's a very good defensive catcher. Let's
he hasn't,
be honest.
but he hasn't thrown well in
I
a
know,
couple of years.
I know, but he's.
And he can't hit very well either.
I know.
But again, there's nothing behind him.
Right.
This
Right.
goes to my point about the position players' depth in the organization. I know James McCann is at AAA and eventually
Right.
might be up here, but that could be next season. Brian Holly's your backup, and he's just a backup.
See, they should have gone after Przinsky. Although that would have, he's such an idiot with the locker room.
Yeah, but he's always been on winning
Right,
organizations.
I know.
He's
People
always,
like
you
him
know.
too
Yeah.
within his locker room
Yeah.
when he's there.
Right.
On the outside, people hate him. It's interesting because Avila can't hit very well, but I'm also one of the camp that understands you can't have an all-star at every position.
Correct.
And people in this town sometimes have a hard time believing that.
Right, and Dombrowski made a point this morning in the saying that Suarez and Hernan Perez are both, they want to keep them in the minors and keep them playing every day. But he also said that Gonzalez just didn't have enough range defensively. Well, if you think Romine is good enough defensively, bat him ninth and let him play. I think he's a 4A player. I don't think he's an everyday shortstop.
So is Danny Worth.
But Perez is one guy that he was like on the playoff roster last year, and he was basically like a pinch runner. Just bring him up and leave him there and let him play shortstop for the rest of the year. I think they're messing around too much with it.
Which is what they should have done from the beginning. I mean, somebody else mentioned the bullpen thing. The bullpen will be okay, but it's not horrible and it's not great. It's like people change their opinions. Jabba looks like the old Jabba for the last
He's,
two
he's
games.
the eighth inning guy all of a sudden anointed.
But let's let the
It's
crazy
3 weeks.
Right, exactly. I mean, Joe Nathan, he gave up a home run to Pujols yesterday, but he had the game the other night where he pitched good. Let's let everybody relax and chill for a little bit.
I also think that it is so early that with this cold weather, days off, Tigers didn't play Monday or Tuesday.
It's been weird.
I think it affects everybody.
Yeah.
I think it's affecting a guy like Miguel Cabrera. Oh, what's wrong with Miggy? He's awful now. He's got less home runs than Nick Castellanos and Kevin Kuzminoff. Okay, great. But eventually he's going to have 30 or 40. Just give it some time. I think it's very early to be pushing any buttons about anything right now.
Right. Jabba told me that. I was down at the game yesterday. It's not an excuse. He just said it's kind of weird. If you look at the standings, sure, we're in first, but we've played 5-6 games less than everybody else. They're in a funk, and our guy Jeremy Johnson, segue, everybody's favorite guy who goes out on the street, we gave him the week off for Easter, right? He's a busy man.
Right.
But I did go in the locker room yesterday inside the clubhouse and ask the Tigers what their favorite Easter candy was. This was their response.
My favorite Easter candy?
It had to be Little Peeps.
Probably the chocolate bunny. You know, that chocolate bunny that people have in a little basket.
Probably the Reese's bunnies, because I love peanut butter.
The Reese's peanut butter, the egg-shaped ones. It's something I just grew up on. They're tasty.
Girl and boy, baskets full of Easter joy.
Ever let them melt in your hand?
No, you know what? Even if it is melted or smushed, I'm still gonna eat it.
What about when they melt in your hand, though?
Yeah, I don't let them go that long to be melting in my hand.
I eat the ears off first. No, they're sticking out, pointy, like eat me first.
Do you ever finish it?
No, I never finish it. It'll give you an upset stomach. I just bite the ears off and it looks different.
Clark said he eats the heads off the chocolate bunny, and now you're eating the heads off the peep. What is it about eating the heads off candy?
I don't know. I guess we're just messed up.
Peep or two?
You can't go wrong with either of these.
All right.
Thank you, Brad. You got your Peeps are good.
Oh,
The Reese's eggs,
They're
we got it all hooked
That's
up.
the beauty of these things. They're all stuck together, but you get the marshmallow. You can't beat
and they
peep
last
on
for
each.
weeks.
Peeps are lame. There's nothing like Reese's.
Yeah, but you know what? If you want just sweet and you got a little bit of sugar right on the top, I have no problem with the Peep. But
All right, we're
Can't
hopping
be
right
chocolate.
on back. When we come back, we're at the bar. The fast 5 minutes. These guys are hitting each topic for 30 seconds.
The Playboy bunny.
Back and forth. Oh, man. I knew that was going to happen. I'm out of here. See you later.
7 Action News.
Welcome back. It's Easter Sunday. We're chowing down, having some snacks, and talking sports with you.
I'm having a
You
hard
look
time.
ridiculous.
I'm having a hard time
What?
with the ears. I got to be honest. It's funny.
Oh, I
At
forgot
least,
they were on.
at least it matches.
It does.
He always.
I know.
It's not on accident.
He's a fashion plate.
The Angels are in town, so the argument of Mike Trout, Miguel Cabrera pops its beautiful head into our sports talk, as it always does when these two face off, and really the past 2 seasons, because they've both been so special. I pose it to you this way. The fast 5 minutes, 30 seconds each. Who do you like in the next 3 years, if I had to tell you, you only got 3 years with one of these guys, Cabrera or Trout?
I think from a overall standpoint of everyday players that plays both defense and offense, you have to go with Mike Trout. And I love Miguel Cabrera. I'm a huge Miggy fan. I know this conversation goes back and forth a lot. I think Miggy deserved the MVP the times that he's won it. His teams were winning. He's the most feared hitter in the game. But when you talk defense, you talk speed, on the base paths, and just incredible stuff. And I know he had a bad day yesterday. I would go with Mike Trout.
Well, you know what? Trout is the better complete ball player, no doubt about it. However, for the next 3 years, I'm going with Miggy because Mike Trout, although it's not his fault, hasn't shown that he can do anything when the lights are the brightest. The playoffs, they haven't been in the playoffs. And September's have not exactly been times for Mike Trout to shine. So for the next 3 years only, I'm going with Miggy. Because now that he plays first, he's a much better fielder than he was at third.
Much better, and packs much more value to the team.
Yeah, but in the center of the diamond where Trout's playing in center field.
Trout's an all-around better player, but
Right.
I want to see Trout do something in September.
Woo! Can't make a peep once the buzzer sounds. I'm making all the bad jokes
Oh my
today.
gosh, you are rolling right now.
So a recent report from ESPN shoots out that Matthew Stafford is the 6th highest paid athlete in the entire world this upcoming season, making $31 million in his salary. Does Stafford's deal make sense?
Well, forgetting if it makes sense or not, it's just mind-boggling. And I know a lot of it has to do with the way the contract is structured. But I'm sorry, when you see the people who are in that list, Mayweather, 3 soccer players, including Messi and Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, it's not his fault. What has he accomplished to be the 6th highest paid player in the world? Nothing. It's not his fault. And I know it's the contract, the way it's structured, because maybe he'll be underpaid next year. But come on, seriously, reality check.
That's one side of it, Matt.
Stoney's got to calm down. Stoney is right, because now it's time to win and it's time to do everything. I, for one, don't care how much money he makes. And if he's the 6th highest paid or the 2nd highest paid in the NFL going into this year, or 2nd highest paid in the world, whatever it is, I don't care. Produce. Stoney mentioned Floyd Mayweather. I don't watch boxing. A lot of people don't watch boxing. I don't care what these guys make. I think it's been blown way out of proportion. Here in Detroit, all we care about is take us to the playoffs and win some games. And this week, Tom Luan said, Super Bowl or bust.
Woo! Laying it down.
He said it, so it's time to win. Enough's enough. I don't care what they make.
I don't care either. It's just mind-boggling.
It is. Oh, yeah, it is. But the numbers are crazy all over the place. Who's the highest paid Piston we talked about before, right?
Ah,
Josh Smith. So
what a guy. NBA playoffs continuing on ABC all weekend and throughout the great month of April, May, June, July, August. They go on forever. But at the end of the road, who is your pick to win the NBA title?
I'm going to go with the Oklahoma City Thunder. I watched them last night. I thought they were the most impressive. Indiana has a lot of problems. Something's wrong with the stew there in the Circle City. Miami, while I like LeBron, I think he's terrific, and he'll probably carry them far. Wade is aging and older. They're not as good of a team. I think it comes out of the West this year, fellas, and I think it'll be Oklahoma City.
Thunder get their moments, Tony?
I can't stand the Heat, so I hope they don't win. But I'm going to stay in the West. But it's San Antonio's time. After the deal that they suffered last year with Ray Allen's shot beating them, I think it's time for the Spurs. Duncan is still playing good. They have their injuries, but when it's playoff time, the Spurs will come through and at least make Oklahoma City sweat. They'll beat Oklahoma City because Greg Popovich could outcoach Scott Brooks into a corner.
That is true, but who's going to guard Kevin Durant? Kawhi Leonard? I think Durant is he's just too good.
Durantula is still the best nickname in sports.
I love it. They don't use it enough. They always call him like KD and other stuff. No, I'm with you on that.
I like Durantula. All right, Pistons, we got to live our glory days, or at least the best memories we've had here in a long time, ever since the last championship team. The Bad Boys 30 for 30 documentary aired this past week. There were winners, there were losers. I think as the city as a whole, we won, gotten to watch this, but who won, who lost, Stoney?
I think Bill Laimbeer actually came out looking great, believe it or not, because he was who he is. You know what I mean? He is who he was. He didn't care. Everything he said was, you know what? And I think people didn't realize what a great leader he was. So I think Bill Laimbeer came out the best. I would like to see Vinnie Johnson in the documentary. He didn't play for the Pistons. But Adrian Dantley came out looking like a petulant, I can't say right now, because there are two sides to every story. He didn't give the other side.
And Matt, he shared a bunch of his story with you this past week.
Oh my gosh, he was on the air with me Friday and went ballistic on Isaiah Thomas and just ripped him a new one, and is still bitter after 25 years. Adrian's living in Maryland right now as a crossing guard, making $14,000 a year. And he's age 60 and just hanging out.
He wants that insurance benefit.
Exactly. He did not look all that great, but you know what? I think there are plenty of Pistons fans out there that would like to see a little bit more, like Stoney said, of Vinnie Johnson in that documentary. I thought Isaiah Thomas came off pretty well on that thing in terms of he's been butchered around the league. Talk to executives, people around the league. They want nothing to do with Isaiah. Here in Detroit for that 2-hour span tonight, I thought he came off pretty well.
Pretty interesting. A lot of people have always said, well, put Laimbeer as the coach, bring Isaiah in as the GM, and all of us with half a sense would always say, that's a terrible idea. I almost for a minute believed after watching that, well, that leadership team could work again.
You get sucked back in watching stuff like that, of course.
All right, how could you get sucked back in again? Fifth and final Fast 5 minute. What would the next 30 for 30 local be that you'd like to see made?
I'd like to see something on the Russian 5 and maybe mixing in 96, March 26th, March 26th, 1997 with McCarty and the Avs. Something with that. I don't know if you could do an entire Red Wing edition from when they won the back-to-backs, but some of the Russian 5 I think would be awesome to see a 30 for 30 that would have a Detroit tie.
Very close to that, I think the Wings Avs would be an unbelievable 30 for 30. You could start with, them moving from, Quebec to Colorado. You could even go with the Lindros trade, but Forsberg to really set it up. The growing pains of the Red Wings. Then the game in Montreal where Waugh got sent out, and then they traded him to Colorado. It was the greatest thing in hockey for about a 5-year stretch. That would be the greatest. If you could get everybody on the record, guys like Mike Keane and Adam Foote, McCarty, Scotty Bowman, Mark, it would be awesome.
I like both. The Russian 5 would be great with the Konstantinov element, how it united a city, the town, everybody.
I think it would grab more people. I'm with for us here, for Stoney, and for all of us, I think it would grab more people, though, nationally to have, and internationally, to watch the Russian story as opposed to the fringe fans in other cities did not care about Wings Avs.
The Wings and Avs changed hockey, though, and it brought it and put it on the on the map again.
But outside of Detroit, at least you're having a Colorado, people might be interested. I don't know if people in Denver would care about the Russian 5.
They'd both be good. That was a treat to watch this past week, and hopefully we get something else. Coming up after the break, more candy, more fun, and check it out, Rajai Davis. Live at Comerica Park. He's getting mic'd up and he's going to join us live on the other side of the break on the Suburban Ford 7 Sportscape. Surprises are in store. Speed, speed, speed. The Tigers needed it, and our next guest has brought it to the team. Rajai Davis, signed by the Tigers as a free agent to platoon in left field, but all he's done this season in the absence of Andy Dirks has been the everyday guy out there and has succeeded. Rajai joins us now live from Comerica Park on this Easter Sunday. Rajai, thanks for joining us, man.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So you knew coming in you were going to get a chance to prove yourself, but probably a chance to split time with Andy Dirks. You've had opportunities now with Andy being down to prove that you can be the everyday guy, and you've taken advantage of it. You've got to be pretty happy with the season that you've put together so far.
Yeah, I'm just thankful for this opportunity. We have a lot of guys here that I'm able to learn from, a lot of guys who are talented, who are everyday guys, you know, in the likes of Miguel and Torrey and even Ajax, Austin Jackson, center fielder. We have a lot of guys who know how to play this game, and I'm taking my notes and trying to learn from them.
Some games you lead off, some games you bat ninth, depending on who's pitching. How's your mindset change when you get to look at that lineup card?
My mindset, it doesn't really change. I'm just focused on getting on base, scoring runs. That's my primary focus, and that's what it's going to remain.
Rajay, Brad Ausmus has made a point of saying he wants you guys to be more aggressive on the base paths. The team is built differently than it has been the last few years. Not as much thunder in the middle of the lineup. Yesterday, you got thrown out at second trying to extend a single into a double, but you got Miguel Cabrera hitting behind you. How difficult is that for you to know, hey, I want to take the extra base, but you also don't want to make an out and have Miggy up there with nobody on base?
Well, I think that's a learning process. It doesn't take me long to learn, but I think you just gotta know when it's the right time, and that's a work in progress. I think we're going to get better at that as the year progresses.
Now everybody says Davis is great, Rajay, hitting against lefties, but against righties not so much. Does that fuel your fire to show people that you can hit righties?
Well, I've done it in the past. When I've gotten the opportunity to play every day, and got an opportunity to make my adjustments. So, coming up through the minor leagues, all you do is face right-handed pitching. And I know this is not the minor leagues, but still, they have a lot of minor league players that make it to the big leagues. It's just a confidence thing. It's an opportunity, and it's believing in your abilities.
Rajay, we watched someone just run past you there. I've talked with a few of the guys that have come in from the outside, other organizations, and they've all said how much they love the environment of this Tiger clubhouse this season, that it's different than the clubhouses they've come from. What do you make of the group collected here so far, and the way, is it what you expected, or so far, has your expectations been met?
Well, I actually agree with whoever said that. This clubhouse has been amazing. The guys, the personalities. It's been fun to come to the ballpark every single day, starting in actually the off season with the Winter Fest and the Fan Fest, the Tiger Fest, and then it continued on in spring training. We just had a blast in the spring, and we're still having fun in the clubhouse. I think that's what it's about. Coming to the ballpark and wanting to actually wanting to come here and having fun while we're here. And of course, winning takes a major role in that, but that's what we're trying to do, and that's what we're going out there to do.
What about Comerica Park, Rajay, and playing majority of your games or half your games there in terms of defensively? How is it different? Obviously more ground to cover. Is it more difficult?
I guess I don't see it as more ground to cover. We got a lot of guys with speed out there, so it's if you hit the ball up in the air now, the ball's not really going. It's not really going anywhere. The air is a little heavy right now, and it's a little colder, so the ball doesn't carry as well it does in the summertime here, from what I remember. But I'm just out there, just to make the plays. If I get an opportunity, just catch the ball, throw it in, hit the cutoff man.
Now, when we watch the games on TV, your manager, Brad Ausmus, just looks so laid back. Has he ever yelled yet? Does he ever raise his voice?
I don't think he has to get his point across. I think he's able to articulate what he needs to say, and he's able to do it in a manner that we can understand. I think that's important.
Rajay, we got Dave Kellman as our photographer down there. Dave, why don't you get ready? I was watching you yesterday. I was down at the ballpark eating, I think, a strawberry shortcake at your locker after the game. So since it is Easter Sunday, we're going to hook you up.
Oh, nice.
A little chocolate bunny for you, my man.
Yeah.
That's all for you
me?
for joining us here.
Wow.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Milk chocolate's my favorite?
We know now.
You know that?
Yeah.
Now you know.
Are you an ears first kind of guy?
Am I a what?
Ears first?
I am a ears first. Actually, I'm a head first. Head first die.
And it's melting. It's melting, but
It is melting.
it's going to be in good shape for him.
Yeah, it's
All
gonna be
right.
good.
Dave's getting some airtime.
That's the Kelminator. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Raj. I appreciate it,
Thank
guys.
you. Happy Easter.
All right, thank you.
That's good stuff. So looking at what he's been able to do so far, and we said it is a small sampling of just 3 weeks, but minor surprise, at least to me so far. When I go home, my brother tells me, "Hey man, have you seen what Raja did? I told you he was going to be a great guy." He's at least a surprise for me. Biggest surprises for you?
He's been that. I don't expect him to be hitting 326 and 320 as the season rolls on.
I didn't realize he was as a good fielder as he's shown so
Well,
far.
I think the play in L.A., the Dodger game where he misplayed the ball, I think he's going to be okay. I think for a platoon situation, he's going to be fine. I don't think he's going to hit right-handers as we get later on in the year. But his speed adds a lot, and you could see it just by talking to him. A great attitude guy and a guy that just wants to win. He'll be a valuable part of this team, but I don't think he's going to be hitting 320 the whole year.
He won't be. Some will. We want to know your biggest surprises of the Tigers so far. It is that time of year, so use the hashtag 7SportsCave. On the other side of the break, we're going to check in with Mike Foss, who's up at the control room, checking out what you're tweeting. Hashtag 7SportsCave. Your biggest Tiger surprise so far. They made me leave my bunny ears over there.
Good.
You're watching the Suburban Ford 7 Sports Cave. I am Brad Galley. On the couch with me this week is Matt Derry from Detroit Sports 105.1 and from 97.1 The Ticket. Mike Stone, affectionately known as Stoney.
Affectionately, thank you.
Affectionately.
Stanley.
And Diesel.
Yes.
Whatever.
Stanley.
Hey, just keep the Tufts movement going. Just let's hope for the best. Sammy Watkins will be here in less than 3 weeks.
The hashtag we use here, 7 Sports Cave. So interact with us because Mike Foss is our other member of our team. Checking in with what you guys are saying on this Easter Sunday. Michael, hello again.
Hello again, guys. Yeah, a whole range of topics being discussed on Twitter this morning with that hashtag 7SportsCave. Let's get to it. We start off with Pete talking about the Tigers. He said, I'm with Stoney. The Tigers should have signed A.J. Pierzynski when he was wanting to come here a couple of years ago. Troy, and I guess this is a little bit of a preview. We're going to hear from Nick Stauskas in a little bit. Just thanking Nick for his last 2 years of great basketball at Michigan. Enjoyed watching him play with Tim and Trey and Glenn. Max says he would also like to see a Russian 530 for 30 with a special on Vladdy. And now we get into the fashion section, if you will. Matt says he loves that Derry's rocking the hashtag Tufts t-shirt on the Sports Cave. So awesome. And of course, Tim, Stoney Ocho Cinco called and wants his HOF jacket back.
Yeah.
It does, especially with the logo. You look like a Monday Night Football announcer or something.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to Canton.
Can I respond to Troy's tweet? Because he wrote something on there about Nick Stauskas being gone. I think that there was not enough put in this week, media-wise, here in Detroit by Glenn Robinson III leaving. I think he's making a huge mistake. Yeah, I do not think
I agree with you, but I thought Hardaway made a mistake last year because I didn't think he was going to be a first-round pick.
But Hardaway was a 3-year player and a much better outside shooter. And also, in the NCAA tournament, Hardaway had a couple of takes to the goal that were incredible. A couple of dunks. I think one in the Kansas game, one in the national semifinal. I think Glenn Robinson III leaving is a giant mistake. All the NBA people I talked to this week
Second round, right?
prepping for my show said they'll be lucky to make the first round. And second rounders now don't just get in and make it. And I think he's making a huge error. I don't think he's ready.
Maybe he'll end up in Grand Rapids, the Pistons' new farm team.
That's right.
But here, a good point made by Mark Snyder of the Detroit Free Press. He's going to go into every single workout and wow people. And that's when the talk will start to rise.
He hopes he's going to wow people.
Fine, Brad,
that's what he can do. No, I agree with you.
Don't go by, come on, Darko wow people.
He will, and it'll happen.
Well, I mean, you can't.
You're scratching an itch, buddy.
Well, the point is you can't go by these workouts.
Right, and you also.
But the NBA execs will.
You have to also realize all the other guys that are coming out. I mean, there is a giant number of guys at his position, at his size, Cleanthony Early and others that are better than he is right now. And yeah, these workouts might help a little bit, but that's guaranteed money in the first round
too. I mean,
he's going to be more aggressive.
Yeah, it's the beef movement there.
Oh, beef, like
up.
pump up.
Okay, all right. Nice.
I think he's got an NBA body and athleticism, but there are games that looks like Michigan on offense is playing 4-on-5. He'd be great in next year's draft, which is going to be a lesser of a draft than this season.
It'll be interesting. I don't put stock in gym workouts, but like I said, NBA execs do. I think that's what weighed so heavily in his decision because how many times did we sit here on Sundays and talk, where was he last night? Where was he against so-and-so?
He had a good tournament.
He did.
But
we'll give him that.
Other than that.
So I don't want to diss the kid and say he's a bad player, but I thought it was an error leaving.
All right, we got a high school play of the week. Our friends at State Champs give it to us every week. Plenty of good players, plenty of good moments. This week, we've got 2 home runs from Wyandotte Roosevelt on Wednesday against Gibraltar Carlson, 9-4. The final to remain undefeated in the Downriver League. The first homer is by Sidney Pauly in the top of the 4th. Second homer, Elia Montroy. Softball, home runs over the fence, always nice. Clear it. Coming back in the 7 Sports Cave, we have Nick Stauskas one-on-one talking about leaving for the NBA. Nick Stauskas turned into something that no one really expected him to be. A guy that shot on the outside as a freshman to a guy who became a first-team All-American and the Big Ten's Player of the Year. Earlier this week, as we just discussed, he announced his intentions to leave Michigan to join the crowded stock of players in the NBA draft. I went one-on-one with Nick moments after his decision. Nick Stauskas said it was his goal when he was 7 or 8 years old to make it to the NBA, but Nick, this decision, tough to leave these guys behind, like you said. How much pressure was there when the decision was finally made?
I wouldn't say there was a lot of pressure, but I'm definitely going to miss all the guys on this team, and I'm going to miss the coaching staff. The relationships that you build over the 2 years, just living with them and being in practice every day and having road trips, those are friendships and relationships that are going to last a lifetime. So, it's tough to leave them, but at the same time, I'm happy with my decision. I felt like it was the right one for me.
You said you talked with the advisory board, but you wanted to keep those conversations confidential. But then you said it was an easy decision once you heard what they were saying. That has to be promising to at least hear where you may be slotted at the next level.
I think after the season ended, I kind of had a slot of where I wanted to go, and I felt that if I was going to go in that area, and that's where I was projected to go, that it would be an easy decision for me to leave. And the news I got from them was kind of what I was looking for, so it made the decision easy.
When you look back at this year that you had, your freshman year, fantastic, and everything you did from the outside, obviously everyone around the country could see at the big stage.
Yeah.
But then when you go to the basket and you change your game and it evolves, did that really culminate and kind of lead to this decision?
Yeah, no doubt. I think it would be a different story right now if I was sitting here and all I was doing was shooting threes, because, there's a lot of guys who can just shoot threes. There's plenty of guys around the country that can do that, but what I took a lot of pride in this summer was expanding my game and just letting people know that there's a lot more that I could do. And I think with the work that I put in over the spring and summer and throughout the year, I've really proved myself in different aspects that that people doubted me on throughout my whole career. So I feel like I've done a good job of proving that. And at the same time, I still have a lot to grow. I feel like there's many aspects of my game that need a lot of work, and I think I'm just excited to go through that process of still getting better.
So even though all these teams are going to grab you and pick you apart and say, well, you need to do this better, when the interview process goes on, you ready for that? You ready to meet everybody and tell them what you can and can't do?
Yeah, no doubt. And I think it was, I was talking to Coach Beeline earlier this week, and after the season, you're tired and you don't really feel like working out. I took a week off after the Kentucky game where I didn't really do anything, and after that week off, I kind of got that motivation back that I had after last season, where I wanted to stay for the spring and summer. And I'm ready to go back to work, and I'm excited to meet with teams and get to work on this.
Michigan State also in the news this week with Brandon Dawson deciding to stay, which minor surprise, I guess. I didn't expect him to leave, but the fact that he has a child may be swaying him to go. Big for Michigan State to have him back, especially with Gary Harris leaving.
Absolutely, especially the way he played at certain points in the postseason. On the last game against Connecticut, he was a non-factor. But he's a guy that he looked at the draft, realized he probably wouldn't be a first-round pick. And next year, as Matt said, the draft is not so good. If he has a good season, he could be a top 15 pick next year.
He can do a lot of things. You were talking to Nick Stauskas. Dawson can do a lot of things. One thing he cannot do consistently yet is knock down a 15 to 18-foot jump shot. And in the NBA, whoever is guarding him, if he was playing this year, even in garbage time or something, will go ahead and shoot it. He needed to come back. The thing about Adrian Payne is a lot of people projecting him to go in the 20s after Stauskas and Harris. I think Adrian Payne is going to be a really good pro.
So do I.
And I think whoever gets him in the early 20s, late teens, is going to get a very good player. I liked your talk with Stauskas. He's right. Putting the ball on the floor, there was this narrative that he's just the white guy that can just shoot. He can do a lot of other things. I think he's going to be a very good pro.
And he had a position in mind. Basically, right. I want to be a ladder guy. Played up to that level, and when he heard he was going to be a ladder guy, left.
He should be a lottery guy. And look, who knows where the lottery's going to, ping pong balls are going to give the Pistons. But if they get the 8th pick, if he's there, I don't know who else is going to be there. They could certainly use somebody who could actually shoot from the outside.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, and be athletic.
When you look at the whole crop, and McGarry's another one too, because personally I think he goes because of the back situation. He's not going to want to come back and risk it again, so I think he goes to just say, I don't want to potentially lose any shot at the NBA. Who do you think's handled it the worst, or even the past 2 years with the whole crop of Michigan State guys? Who's put themselves in the worst position?
Well, like I said earlier, I think Glenn Robinson III just hasn't gotten any better. I think with McGarry, though, Mitch and Glenn, from everybody I talked to, seem to be a package deal. I don't know why Mitch just didn't announce, like you said, if you think he's going to leave, why he just didn't announce now that he's going to go with them. Certainly he's getting a lot of input. The people I talked to about Robinson are kind of saying the same thing about McGarry. He's going to have to work out and show people he's okay.
He hasn't shown
and it's a bit of a risk.
Look, he had a really good tournament last year. That's about it.
But he should have gone out after last year because his stock was very high.
That's where I say he hurt himself the most. Why come back? I guess to win, and then he knew the group coming back, but personally, I think he's hurt himself the most out of this group.
He's also older. This is not a 19-year-old sophomore.
Correct.
This is what, he's 23? So I hope he comes back selfishly as a college basketball fan for the Michigan people. But I have a feeling like you. I think he may leave.
Special tributes all throughout this entire week for Princess Lacey, who passed away just at 8 years old of life. But after the break, Tom Lydon takes a look at the impact she left on all of us, on the basketball world, and really on the entire community throughout the nation. That's next on the Suburban Ford 7 Sports Cave. Love like Lacey. It's a sign that read outside Michigan State throughout the entire postseason run. The little 8-year-old that touched our hearts left this earth this past week, and at her memorial, our Tom Lydon recaps a great, amazing life and the legacy left by just a little girl.
Many of us got to know Lacey Holsworth a little bit over the last year and a half of her life, but there was so much more to Lacey than the images we saw on television.
What your daughter gave all of us here was an incredible gift.
Her fight, her struggle, her determination, her spirit, all on display tonight as thousands of guests, about 2,500, family, friends, and even strangers who had never met this little princess, gathered to celebrate her short and incredibly impactful life.
That was one of her blessings, is her smile could change your day and have an impact on you.
Music, dancing, laughter, and love. The ingredients of an angelic life.
I feel like she's my little sister. I know that may sound crazy, but everything I do is for our Princess Lacey. I've had the same goal from the very start. Lacey has my devotion, not just a small part.
Among the highlights of the night, a silent dunk sent home gingerly through the rim by her giant of a big brother.
Okay, thanks, Princess Lacey. Bye.
Lacey's mom, Heather, in her tribute said, "I loved you first." And that's certainly true, but if one thing's abundantly clear, it's that this little girl, Lacey Holsworth, had a lot of room for love in her heart, and she shared that love every day of her life. In East Lansing, Tom Lydon, 7 Action News.
Yeah, pretty special girl, touched all of us. I mean, the impact that she made in such a small amount of time, really unbelievable.
It's amazing. Some of the things that people get so upset about and argue about, and crossing racial lines, and you have something like this that just shows that if people just get to know people for what they are, all the other stuff doesn't mean anything.
Wasn't just a photo op for Adrian Payne.
No.
It was the real deal for him. That's it's not Adrian Payne, some 30-year-old this was a college kid playing sports.
Right.
That had issues himself with injuries and everything else, and always to find time to be with her and her family is
go over there and just
pretty
color
cool
with her.
Exactly,
just
pretty
hang
cool.
out with her at her house. And really, like you said, I mean, in the midst of all this basketball, and especially this time of year too, Passover this past week, Easter today, spring break, it's a time where people are coming together with families. It is a good reminder that in sports, there's a silver lining there that you need to look for, that life's a little bit bigger.
Yep.
Well, as we do get together with our families, as we turn our attention to what we do talk about a lot here on sports, the Wings are playing today. We talked about it. We hit it off the top. Your thoughts on today's game and trying to maybe take a 2-0 lead back here as we get set to wrap things up?
I think Boston comes out and they win tonight. Boston's going to be playing desperate. I mean, they do not want to go back to Detroit down 2-0. Because, say what you want about, they're the 1 seed, the Red Wings are the 8. Home ice doesn't mean that much, but you don't want to lose your first 2 games at home. I think the Bruins will be a desperate team. If the Wings can keep their mind straight and Howard can play like he did the other night, they have a pretty good chance. But I like Boston today.
What can it take to get the win? Because I think a lot of people expect Boston to stand their ground.
I think it's obvious that already, and I'm surprised by it because, like Stoney said, this is a very high-powered attack in Boston with what they do. But I'm stunned that already one game in, I think, especially with the Lucic play and everything else, that the Wings are in their heads a little bit. I'm with Stoney. I think the Bruins win today, but I think it's going to be a lot closer.
Yep.
I don't see Boston, the Bergeron and these guys explode for a 4-1 game. I think it's going to come down to the end again. It's going to be a very difficult task for Jimmy Howard to shut that team out 2 games in a row. But I think the Wings have something up their sleeve. I think they're doing something right in their own zone to make sure that Boston doesn't explode. And I think this series might go the distance, which is what the Bruins seem to do every year in the first round.
It set the tone Friday, and it was great. And this is just a continuation, hopefully, of what we'll see throughout the series. Today was fun with you guys. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Brad.
As always.
Great to see you, buddy.
Happy Easter.
You too.
Stanley.
Keeping
Good
it
seeing you,
classy.
buddy.
All right, man.
You can listen to Mike in the morning on 97.1.
Trade up for Super Stoney.
Matt during the week. You can keep it locked here on 7 throughout the week. Thanks for joining us in the Suburban